lot of my luck, okay, I'll tell you this, whether these guys come back or not. When I was younger, I had a friend who always used to hang around my house because I always had lots of girls there, and he was like dying to fuck. And most of my friends that I grew up with, the first time they fucked was in my apartment with one of my girlfriends. Because I was fucking young, and I was the first guy that had an apartment. When I wanted to move out, to get an apartment and move out, my father said, no, stay in the house. And I got along really well with my parents. My mother was a wonderful cook. Okay? Yeah, that was one of the reasons I wanted to come to Poland, because I haven't eaten good cooking like that since my mother died, you know? But she was a wonderful cook. I had a good relationship in the house. But the problem was, I was fucking so much, going to motels, it was costing me more than an apartment. It was economics, the reason I moved out. Not because I didn't get along with my parents. I wish I could have stayed there. You know, and this, you guys can relate to this. When you're working the first time you're young, you're working on a job, sometimes you don't have any money till your paycheck. So if you get paid on Friday and you want to take a girl out on Thursday, you probably have no money. So I would call my father up and say, Dad, spock me $20, which means lend me $20. So he'd always say, sure, come over. So I'd pick up a girl. I'd say, I'm just going to stop at my parents' house for a few minutes. Come with me. I said, you wait in the car. So I'd go into the house. My mother would see me. She says, stay for supper. So I always want to feed me. I go, no, I got to go out. She go, why? I have a girlfriend in the car. Bring her in. I want to meet her. I go, no, Mom. She go, no, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go in the car and tell her, and I'm going to bring her in. I look at my father and says, Dad, stop her. I'm just going to fuck this girl. I don't want her to start meeting my family. My mother would look at me. She says, you're such a pig. Okay. I know, Mom. But I'm going to fuck her, Mom. You're disgusting. She'd look at my father and she'd say, where does he learn this stuff? She'd want to run out to the car, and my father would be stopping her and say, no, don't go. Leave him alone. Now, I'd understand if it would be my sister, they would do, you know, it's a different set of rules for women and for men. I'll tell you a story. One day, way before this, I'm at my parents' house. I just started driving. I had to be 16 years old. Now, my son has to wait till he's 17, but when I was a kid, we could start driving at 16. So I just started driving, and you know, of course, when you start driving, if your father would say, go get me that, take the car. Yeah, no problem. It's not even an errand. It's like your pleasure to drive. So he says to me, we're having a barbecue in the backyard. It's a nice, beautiful, sunny day. And the neighbor's there with his family, and they joined us for the barbecue. And he's got some kids. And he's got a daughter around my age. But I would just say hello. She's my next door neighbor. You know, you don't want to start with that. So my father says to me, how'd you like to go to New York by car and pick up something I needed for my business? It's really important. He says, I'll even pay your trip. Pay you to go. I go, you don't have to pay me to go. I'm going. I love to go. It was 350 miles, 600 kilometers to drive the car on the highway. And, you know, it's like a dream. So the neighbor's daughter says, Dad, can I go with David? So I look, my father looks. And the guy knows me. I used to babysit for the kids sometimes, you know. So he goes, yeah, I'd let you go with David. I trust him. My father smiles and looks at me and he says, okay, I'll get you the paperwork. You can leave tonight or tomorrow. And so her father says to me, he says, make sure you take 2 hotel rooms when you go there. Sure, no problem. So I go to with my father to his office. He gives me the papers, where I have to go. He gives me some money. He gives me a credit card for the gas. He checks the car. We go to a gas station. They check the air and the tires, you know. So my father says to me, you better take 2 hotel rooms, because her father will kill you if you don't take 2 hotel rooms. I look at my father, I go, Dad, she's not that kind of girl. My father looks at me and he starts laughing. Now, picture this. Montreal is an island. We have tons of highways, but to leave Montreal, you have to go over a bridge. Now, from where I live, there's 6 bridges in different directions. One of them is 15 minutes from my house, you're over the bridge. The other one is 20 minutes. There's another one, there's a half hour, 45 minutes. But we took the bridge, the closest one, because we're going in that direction. Before I got to the other side of the bridge, she's already underneath the steering wheel giving me a blowjob. So I get to New York. We don't need 2 hotel rooms. She wanted to go because she wanted to get fucked. So we took 1 hotel room, and when I come back, I'm with my father at the office giving him the papers. He goes, where's the bill for the hotel? I tell him, we took 1 room. I gave it to her to give to her father. He says, I thought she wasn't that kind of girl. I was sure I'm just going to ride with her in the car there and back. She was more aggressive than me. And my father used to go all the time. Like when I used to go get money at his house the other time, my father says, Dad, she's not that kind of girl you have in the car. I go, yeah, Dad. You understand? It was like our own little language, you know? Yeah, she's not that kind of girl. And my mother would say, what are you talking about? My father and I would know what we're talking about. When I said to my father, how many girls did you sleep with before your mother? He goes, I think she's the only one. I couldn't understand. When my mother died, about 4 years later, I was living in Texas. My father called me. He says, how do you do it? How do you live alone? He was like lost. And I said to him, I've lived alone always. I like living alone. I like my own company. But you see, that generation, they were born married. It's different. I don't want to look at or figure out why he was like that. And it's enough to know I'm not like that. My brother is like my father. He's tall, good-looking guy. He's a lawyer in Toronto. And I wouldn't fuck his wife with your dick. Okay? I look at her, and my wife too. My wife's taller than me. She's got long legs. She's very attractive. She looks a lot like Julia Roberts. I like to be around good-looking women. When I took her out, she says to me, should I wear high heels or it's going to bother you? I said, I don't care how tall you are. I says, where it's important to me, height means nothing. You're taller than me. I'm not going to get mad at you because you're taller than me. I had one friend, he was so short, he used to only look for short girls. So he used to be on the radio, and his name on the radio was different than in real life because they use a separate name. So one day I'm in a record store buying a CD, and I see him there, and I go, "Hey, Al, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, Dave, what's up?" So we start talking, and there's aisles with the CDs in it. And I see this short girl on the other side there. Her back is to us. So I say, "Al, look, she's shorter than you. Go talk to her." So he smiles. Then she turns around, and I go, "Oh." I say, "She's too fucking ugly." He says, "That's my new girlfriend." And it's funny. He never invited me to the wedding. But you see, I have a big mouth. I couldn't stop. I said to him, like, "Oh, I wouldn't fuck her with your dick." Yeah, I had problems with ugly girls. I can tell you stories. Ugly girls, I was like always having problems going out with ugly girls. If I went after an ugly girl, it's like she knew I was desperate to fuck her. I tell a story. I was working late, and I used to go out during the week. And in Montreal, you go out like at about 11, 12 o'clock. You go to some clubs and you find something there between that time and 3 in the morning, and you take it home and you fuck it. So I got home after work, and I went and I took a shower. And after the shower, it was still early. It was late because I worked late, but it was still too early to go out. So I sat down to watch TV, and I fell asleep. When I wake up, it's like 1:30. Fuck, I missed my... So I says, "You know what, I'm going to try anyway." So I get dressed, I get downtown, it's about 2:30. 2:30? So I go to the place where I had the best luck, You get your own places where you have good luck. So I went into the place and I look around. There's a bunch of girls there, but they're already with guys. Most of the girls start going home now with the guys, or they're not going home with the guys. And I see there's one girl there. She's not good looking, but she's not really horrible. Her figure's a little lumpy, but I'm horny. I order a couple of shots, 2 shots, and she's starting to look better. So I go sit down and I start to talk to her, and she's such a bitch. And everything I'm saying, she's negative. And even her voice, I didn't like the way her voice sounded. So I said, "Can I buy you another drink?" She goes, "You're drinking a lot." So I looked at her, I says, "I think I have to tonight." So I had a couple more drinks. And then she starts to say things to me. She says, "If you think you're going to take me home and fuck me, you're wrong." So I look at her and I go, I want to tell you something. I was so fucking horny tonight. I would have fucked anybody. But after talking to you for a while, I think I'd rather go home and jerk off or fuck a piece of liver with a picture on it. Okay. She was like, "So fuck," and I left there and I said, "Fuck, why try? Every time I go after an ugly girl, I get a headache." And I fucking regretted wasting my time. I went out with a girl in 1982. She was Miss Montreal. She almost won the Miss Canada pageant. She was beautiful. French-Canadian, strawberry blonde hair, perfect figure. And I met her. She walked in front of my car. I looked at her, I said, "Fuck, she's gorgeous." And as she was walking, I'm thinking how I'm going to fuck her, and she's looking at me in the car, and she keeps walking. I throw the car into park. I take out the key. I walk down the street. I go, I have to stop you. She goes, what is it? I says, you're the most beautiful woman I've seen in my life, and I have to get to know you. I started talking to her. I went out with her for 1.5 years. My friends, every time I brought her with my friends, they were like that. And when I used to go out with her, because she had so many engagements, because she was, modeling and stuff like that, that all the women would look at me like, why is he with her? Okay? And they would hit on me all the time. I loved it. And for my birthday, she brought her friend over to me. So both of them would give me a blowjob. Fuck. That's the kind of girlfriend you like, It's the perfect gift. You don't have to think, oh, I have one of those already. And she had 12 sisters. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going to fuck all the sisters. So one of the sisters calls me up. She broke up with a boyfriend. And she comes over to my apartment. I says, why are you here? Next thing I know, I'm fucking her. Then we went up north to their cottage. And I meet her older sister. And I told her, my friend lives near where, she told me where she lives. I said, one of my good friends lives a few blocks away from you, where you live. She goes, when you go visit him, drop by for coffee. So I do that, and I fuck her too. So now, I'm thinking like this. She brought a friend over to fuck me and her together. And I really liked fucking the first sister I fucked. And I'd like to fuck her and her sister, to fuck 2 sisters. I mean, it was just another one of my goals that I wanted to achieve. So I figured, as smart as I think I am, I'm going to try to fuck the 2 sisters. Well, sometimes it doesn't work. And I lost both of them. And she said to me, I heard you fuck my other sister too. Are you going to fuck all my sisters? So I said to her, only the ones that are over 18. It didn't work. But it was so exciting. I have this student. He's living in England. He was a Russian. He lived in Montreal, so he speaks English like I do. And then he moved to England. So he's telling me, just last week, he's telling me a story that he met this girl. She's so good looking. He said, I'd like to take you out. She goes, I have a boyfriend, but I have a twin sister. And she just broke up with her boyfriend about 2 months ago. I can fix you up with her. I know she's going to like you because I like you. She says, okay. So he calls her sister up. And her sister says, you didn't see what I look like yet. He goes, well, I saw your sister. So she says to him, what, do you want my sister? He says, no, if you're a twin, it's the same thing for me. So they decide to meet in this club, and they go out. And what happens is, her sister, the one who fixed her up, is there too. He goes, how come you're there? She goes, day or 2 after we met, I broke up with my boyfriend. So she goes, and I'm really upset that I gave you to my sister. So he's talking to her, and she says, come outside, we're just going to go for like a cigarette or a walk or whatever. So he goes outside with her, and she's leaning against this little sports car. And he goes, that's a nice car. Do you know whose it is? She goes, it's mine. He goes, really? He says, take me for a drive. So he goes back inside and he tells the sister, I'm just going to go with your sister for a drive in her car. It's 2 seats. So she says, okay. So he goes in the car with her and they start driving. And she's talking. She says, I'm very upset because I like you a lot. So they pull over. He starts kissing her. So I told him, what did you do? He says, well, he'll go out with her later on. He doesn't know what to do. I said, you don't understand something. To me, my mind analyzes it like this. The sister who fixed you up wants you. It's apparent. And it's exciting to her. It's like, I went out with a girl, she was a stripper. She used to get turned on. She used to get wet in front of men stripping. It's the way she got turned on. It happens to a lot of women like that. They get turned on exciting you. So I said, you should have taken her right away and fucked her, and then gone back and fucked her sister after. And then you could try to get them both together. Once you fucked each one of them. He goes, oh, he was trying to be nice. Who are you trying to be nice to? He's trying to think of what she's going to want. Oh, he's a nice guy. She didn't want a nice guy. She wanted a guy to fuck her. She wanted to cheat on her sister already. She fixed her sister up with him and then came on the date. All these signals, you have to read them properly. But no, we want to be nice to the women. A lot of our problem is we want to protect these women from us. This goes back to our mothers. We have to be nice to these women. We want to protect them from that bastard me. Because all I'm thinking is I want to fuck her. Don't protect her. She knows what she wants. If she wants you, she wants you. Women don't go out to look for a guy. Well, some do. To put him on a hook, keeping him up and down. I was telling you before the story of one of my first students. He says to me, I went out with a girl for 1.5 years. We broke up. I didn't see her for 6 months. Then I had 2 fabulous dates. So I say to him, describe your last fabulous date. Tells me, they went out for dinner. I said, who paid? He goes, I did. I go, okay. Then I took her back to her house after, and we sat and we talked for 4 or 5 hours. And then, well, we kissed for a little bit and I went home. I look at him. Did you fuck her? He goes, no. I go, well, for me to be a fabulous date, I gotta fuck her and get a blowjob at least. What else is there? So I said, okay. Describe your second fabulous date. It's about the same thing. And I think for a second. I tell him, I'm going to ask you a stupid question. Did you ever fuck her? And he goes, no, like I'm stupid for asking that question. I says, you went out with her for 1.5 years. Then you went on 2 fabulous, and you never fucked her? I said, first of all, you're an idiot. She's a real bitch. You don't think once she thought he wants to fuck me? She could keep him on the hook for 1.5 years. Sure, they had to break up. Because she probably said after 1.5 years, Either I have to fuck him or I have to let him go. Because she broke up with him. Of course. She controlled everything. He chased after that pussy for 1.5 years. And then she didn't see him for 6 months, and then she made him take her out again. I said, she ever cook supper for you? No. Most of the days she took her out, he goes, yeah. Yeah. You're an idiot. But imagine what kind of person she is that she could do that to you. And I'm sure every one of you have guys and friends that you know that went out with girls for a long time before they fucked her, if they ever did. My son says to me, one of his friends has a girlfriend. I says, that's great. 15 years old. So I said to him, you think he's fucking her? He goes, no, Dad. So I look at the kid, I go, you have a girlfriend? He goes, yeah. You fucking her? He all gets red. He goes, no. I go, why do you need her for a girlfriend? She's stopping you from talking to any other girl. She's keeping you a little dog, puppy. Now, guys don't do that. Guys don't keep girls around if they don't want to sleep with them. I had, in my life, 2 girlfriends that I didn't fuck. One was my best friend's girlfriend, the one I mentioned before. The other one, she was a girl who was so good to me. I used to fuck all her friends. When I'd go over to the apartment, one of her friends would come in, I go, I want to fuck your friend. She says, I'll ask her. And she'd tell him what I liked, and she'd fix me up, and I'd fuck her. It was great. I remember one time we went out to a restaurant because a friend of hers who was a lesbian, it was her birthday, and she was bringing her new girlfriend. Her parents were taking her out for her birthday, and she invited my friend, and she says, why don't you come with us? Because you know her, and you know her parents, and I don't want to bring a guy because I'm just friends with her. So I said, okay. So we go out, and her girlfriend was a stripper. Beautiful body. Good-looking girl. So I'm talking to my friend. My friend's name was Janine. I say, Janine, I want to fuck her. She goes, she's a lesbian. I go, no. I want to fuck her, and she'll fuck me. She says, sometimes you're just too much. You think every girl wants to fuck you? I go, yeah. So she talks to her because she doesn't want her friend to know that she's talking to the lesbian for me to fuck her. And she says to the lesbian, she says, my friend Dave wants to fuck you. She looks at her and she goes, I like Dave. Give him my number. And I fucked her. And her lesbian friend was all pissed off at me because I stole her girlfriend. She starts to give me shit. She says, oh, you stole. I says, listen, we can share. I don't mind. I can watch you licking her pussy while I'm fucking her in the ass. She says, you're such a pig. Yeah. But yeah, it turned me on, and it turned her on that I wanted her. A lot of it doesn't have to do with anything else, but they get excited, they get turned on. It's those exciting feelings you get. If you feel excited, go for it. What's the worst she could say? No.